Good morning. Welcome to Friday's Good Morning Vibe Tribe. We like to start every morning with gratitude. I will be completely and totally honest with everybody here. I have slacked on this quite a bit lately, and I have learned how desperately I need to practice my gratitude. I can tell a major difference in my day from when I do and when I do not practice gratitude. Kayla, let's start with you. What do you do to practice gratitude every morning?
I like to, okay, so I'm a very hectic person. My brain's all over the place and I'm very easily distracted. So for me, the best thing that I do is a directed gratitude. So I use a gratitude journal. I think it's a great place to start. If you're not sure, like if you feel uncomfortable just thinking about something and writing it on a piece of paper, start with, direction. Get yourself a gratitude journal. They're super cheap on Amazon.
That's how I had to start one of those preempted gratitude journals that I can fill out. Skye, what do you do for your gratitude in the mornings?
Whoops, hit the wrong button. So I use a gratitude journal, or if I'm running short of time, I use my other journal, which is just basically a bunch of blank paper. And I'll just write the date down and I'll just write those few things that I'm grateful for down. I never really did practice gratitude the first few months that I was in the business, and I noticed a huge difference in my day to day once I actually started doing it. And once it became like a habit and stuff, I mean, to be 100% honest, there have been days that have come and went that I haven't sat down and filled out my gratitude journal. However, because I've made it such a habit, it's something that I think about on those days that are just too busy to actually write it down. And it is really hard to have a bad day when you think about all those things that you're grateful for.
Yes, I absolutely love that. I have a subscription to a magazine called Entrepreneur Magazine, and there was 4 issues that I totally loved. Eva Longoria, Kate Hudson, Drew Barrymore, and I can't really say her name right, but it's Tahara or something like that. Henson. She plays the wife in Empire. And all of these women are strong, powerful women of today's world. Every single one of them wake up early to write down things that they are grateful for that happened in the last 24 hours. If powerful women like that are doing that, then I don't see why we can't. I would love to see everybody drop in the chat at least one thing that they are grateful for that happened in the last 24 hours. Be specific. Don't put I'm grateful for my family. Don't put I'm grateful for my house. Why are you grateful for your family? Why are you grateful for your house? I mean, I just realized recently I'm thankful as hell just for having heat and a warm blanket because there's so many that don't. The world today is sad, and there's just so many people that don't have the small things that we have that we take for granted. And it saddens my heart that for so long that I've taken those things for granted. And I'm going to get into the meat and potatoes of everything, and we're going to go ahead and start with Kayla. Kayla is, like I said, both of these women are very strong about mindset like that, like I am. And I'm just going to let her take it away with what she does.
Okay, I'm really excited for this morning. Actually, I gotta say, so I was absolutely thrilled to start this. Mindset to me is so important because for a very long time, it's important to me even beyond this business. I am not different than so many people that are probably on the Zoom right now, but I've struggled my entire life with anxiety, depression, PTSD from childhood trauma. And for a very long time, I lived this fixed, limited mindset of just constant negativity, of constantly putting myself down, of just hating who I was, where I was, what I was, when I was, all those, everything about it was just a very negative mindset. And because I was living this negative mindset, I just constantly had this rain cloud over me for a very long time. So when you say, change your mind, like one of my favorite things to say is changing your mind will change your life. And it seems so simple, but there's so much truth to it. And it's such a powerful statement. How many people right now watching, put it in, just say, yep, in the comments, if you've ever had any of these thoughts. This is impossible. I can't do this. I'll never figure it out. I hate this, and this is too hard, just to name a few. If you've ever thought any of those in any aspect, not even your business, in any aspect of your life, just say, yep, let's hear it. Yep, all of them. Exactly. We're all famous for it. Our brains think 70,000 thoughts in a day. Can you just imagine how many of those are negative? Right? So learning to reframe your thoughts is the first step to self-improvement. Because if you don't change how you're thinking, nothing around you changes, right? Nothing around you changes. Put yup in the comment below if you are sorry, train of thought. Put a yup in the comment below if you are guilty of negatively putting your emotions on your Facebook or your Instagram or some platform where you have customers watching you. You know what? We're all guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. Sometimes Facebook and Instagram is a place where we feel comfortable enough to express ourselves, right? And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing to have negative emotions, because we're humans. If we only had positive emotions, how would we learn? How would we grow? We're not robots. So we're going to have great days. We're going to have awful days. We're going to be hurt by people. We're going to have bummer situations coming our way. Things are going to happen in life that are going to knock you down. And even with the best mindset, that doesn't mean you're not going to have bad days, right? So I want to make that very clear. But what I want you to realize is that we need to reframe those patterns of negative thought and limited mindset so that we can use them to our advantage. Because a negative day and a bad day, we all are, you're totally justified in how you feel, but how you share that with the world, if you choose to do so, can make the world of difference, right? Are you relatable? Let's say you're going through a very bad breakup, right? And how often have you gone through a bad breakup and you want to just post all this negative stuff? Oh, you're lonely. Oh, he's awful. He did such bad things. Well, I didn't deserve this, But one thing that always worked for me was when I realized that what I was putting into the world, I was getting back, and that was crap. I would change my mindset. So if I was having a day, instead of negatively posting that negative thought on Facebook, I would change the script and find something positive to post about that situation, something empowering to change my mind and change my view of the situation that I was in. At the end of the day, we can't control what other people do. We can't control the things that come our way. But what we can control is how we choose to react to these situations and those circumstances. We as people, we're still human beings. We're going to deal with crappy stuff and crappy people. But the only thing we can control is ourselves, right? The only person that we have control over is ourselves. So that's the focus right now, is fixing your mindset so that you could have a growth mindset versus a negative limited mindset. So first things first, you want to recognize those limiting beliefs. There are several patterns that we tend to do, and feel free to comment which ones are resonating with you. Do you dwell on things too long and let them stew inside of you? So, you know, a week later, you're like, oh man, that guy cut in front of me in the grocery store. Are you dwelling on these negative things that are happening? Are you overreacting? Are you making mountains out of molehills? Not every crappy situation needs to be a mountain. Not all of your energy needs to go into these negative thoughts. Is it an all or nothing situation? We got to be flexible, right? Like, not everything is not black or white. There's this gray area in between. So, you know, just because, you know, this morning you stubbed your toe doesn't mean your entire day has to be crap. You need to, you know, regroup, you know, say your little curse word or whatever, or shake it off and keep moving, because the rest of your day could be amazing if you just let it. Assuming, right? Assuming, overthinking things. How often are people overthinking? I know I can overthink the worst case scenario 100 times. And by doing that, I give myself the worst anxiety, right? So overthinking things. You know, personalization. Now, this one is huge. Personalization. When you are feeling negative and blaming yourself for everything. Why me? I feel I'm awful. I can't do this. I'm just not good at this. Or a situation happens and, oh, it's my fault. When reality is, a lot of the times, the situations that are occurring in your life have nothing to do with you, right? Because your boyfriend broke up with you, or you and your boyfriend broke up. Maybe it's got nothing to do with you and everything to do with him. Maybe it's got nothing to do with either one of you. It was just something that had to happen in your life to get you to the next chapter, right? There's ways to take these issues and turn them around, flip the script. When you can recognize that you're doing these, it becomes gradually easier to switch that off and recognize, no, I'm not going to dwell on this today. This is not happening. I'm going to change my thought right now. Replace that negative reaction, negative thought, with a positive one right away and get that out of there. So at the end of the day, we need to change how we're thinking. That's the big picture, right? Changing how you think will change your life. But if you change nothing, nothing's going to change. If nothing changes, nothing changes. So it all begins with your brain, right? This is where we're starting, because everything's going to trickle from your mindset. What you're taking and thinking, what you're putting into the universe is going to come back to you. So my father always taught me growing up, when you do good, good things happen. When you do bad, bad things happen. That's also what people call karma. But what you put into the universe, good or bad, it's going to listen. The universe is going to listen to you, and it's going to shoot it right back at you. So what you're doing, you're getting it right back, right? So I've got a couple of tips, just quick tips on how to build your growth mindset. So I wanted to kind of riddle that off. I think it's really important for you to realize that you are your storefront. Your Facebook, your social media platform is your storefront, and your friends and your family and the people that you add every day is your audience. So, I mean, think about going to a grocery store, and you go into a grocery store and the cashier is constantly bad mouthing her job, hates her life. It's awful. It's a terrible job. She's so tired today. She's so tired. You're going to give her a sample, but she's so tired, and her kids were up all night and they were so grumpy all the time, and her boyfriend never listens to her. And then you're going to go over to the stocking clerk, and he's going to grumble about how he never got his break yet today. This job is so crummy and he hates his job. And you're going to go around. You're going to ask him for some help to find a can of soup, and he's going to bark at you something negative because he's having a negative day. You're going to go through this grocery store and you're going to hear all these negative comments, and you're going to leave there, and you're not going to want to go back in there because you feel like crap. Negativity is contagious, just like positivity, right? It's contagious. When someone is around you constantly bashing stuff, negative all the time, and just miserable, it makes you feel miserable. You're not going to want to go around that type of situation. You're not going to want to be around someone like that. That's just simple, right? You don't want to feel negative around people, especially in our business. where we are promoting health and wellness, right? We are promoting health and wellness and positivity and motivation. So if you're attaching your product of health, wellness, and motivation to a negative mindset, a negative news feed, how can anybody trust that what you're doing is working, right? When it could very well be working, but you have to work too, right? You need to make that change to see the change in yourself, in your growth, in your business. So I think that's really important to recognize, because how you choose to post is going to be all the difference. What you choose to post. Am I saying you need to post that you are a very happy Carol Brady robot every single day? No, because you're not. Because you're not. Last month, I went through a really crummy month. I had COVID, and then my whole family ended up having COVID. So it was like a month from absolute hell. And I was really sick. And instead of constantly, oh, I'm so sick, I'm miserable, blah, 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 I used it to my advantage. So I used it for promoting my Activate, because I would make my smoothies. That only thing I could consume was my smoothies with an Activate to give me a little burst of energy, because moms don't get sick days. So I would take that mindset, and I couldn't even get off the couch, you guys. I was like on the couch 90% of almost 3 weeks. And it was really awful, but I would pop onto my lives and I would still talk, and I'd say, oh, sick moms don't get sick days. That was like my theme. So instead of being, oh, I'm so sick, I'm so miserable, everything sucks, sucky, 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 I used it. I flipped the script. Of course, I felt miserable. This is a very crappy situation, but I used it to my advantage so that I became relatable and people could relate to me. Yeah, moms don't get sick days. Moms don't get sick days, right? Of course. How many of you can vouch for that? Moms don't get sick days. Even with COVID, I did not get my sick day. Kids had to eat. So it's all about flipping the script and making it work for you. What you go through, like grow through what you go through, what you're using, what you're living, use it, right? To your advantage, to make you relatable, but find a way that isn't going to put a rain cloud over someone's day when they read it, right? So here's just a few tips that I have for changing yourself from a limited mindset, a fixed mindset, to a growth mindset. And this is very simple. It's very, very simple. Believe in yourself. Remind yourself that you are freaking awesome. You are freaking awesome. You were on here this morning, jumping on, and I don't know what time it is, but when this starts, it's 8:30 here in Newfoundland. You are here. You showed up today. That's freaking great. Did you brush your hair this morning? You go, girl. You're awesome, right? You're awesome. Did you feed your children? Is it stale Cheerios? It's okay. They're fed. Cheerios are good for you. Number 2, empower yourself. Remind yourself that you always have choices. You can do anything, right? You always have a choice. Do you want to stay in this negative mindset, or do you want to make that change today because you have it in you to do it? Believe in the impossible. Anything is impossible, or anything is possible. Anything is possible. If you believe, you truly, truly believe, you can do anything. You can do anything. You are a powerful superhero. You can do anything. Number 4, look for the good. Combat those negative thoughts. So like I said earlier, when I was instead of posting negative and even looking up negative quotes, I'm sure I drove people crazy for a period of 6 months, because every time I had a negative emotion, I flipped the script, I Google searched a positive quote about that negative emotion, and I popped it on my Facebook. And I did this regularly, and I found it very helpful for me personally. Live in the moment. Live in the moment. Life is a journey, you guys. Remember that. Life is a journey. Trust in the process. In regards to our Thrive business, what the seeds you plant today are going to start to sprout in about 6 weeks. That's the general time frame. So don't kick yourself if this week you reached out to a new person and they said no. You keep planting those seeds. You build that relationship. You have it in you to do this, and you can do this. I need you all to believe that as even though no today may feel like crap, especially if you're new to this, that rejection can be really hard in the beginning. Realize that a no right now is never just a no. It's a not right now, right? No is never just a no. It's just shortened. It just cuts off. It's a not right now. So they'll watch you. And you know what? This happened to me. My aunt I didn't even talk to my aunt, to be honest. And then 6 months into my business, she's like, hey, I want to get a promoter pack. Like, hey, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. People are always watching, you guys. And even the people that say no are always watching, always watching. Number 6, leave behind doubt. This is so important. So remind yourself, change those what ifs to the best that can happen is. So instead of what if I fail, how about this? The best thing that could happen is I hit my 4K this month. I hit my 12K this month. The best thing that could happen is I finally signed my first promoter. You know, what if I talk to them and they say no? Scrap that thought and say, you know, what if that person is my first superstar promoter? Or not what if, we're going to scratch that, but you know, the best thing that can happen is that person will become my superstar promoter. Be uniquely you. And this is so important. I was always a person, and drop a 1 in the comments if you are famous for this, that you are worried about what the opinions of others. If you worry about what other people think of you, if you have not done your first TikTok or reel or played around with it because you are afraid that someone's going to laugh at you for taking that plunge. Well, let me tell you something. When you finally give yourself the freedom of truly being who you are, unapologetically and authentically, you're going to start living your life to the fullest. I'm telling you, before Thrive, I was so always worried about other people, and what other people think of me is none of my freaking business, right? It's no one's business, right? So that's something that's really important. So do it scared is one big thing that we learned in our 40K push. Do it scared. You know, when you start allowing yourself to have that freedom of being just you, things get easier, right? Life gets better because the other people that you're worried about, they're not paying your bills, right? They're not feeding you, right? They're not hugging you at night when things are tough. You go and do whatever it is to make you happy, because that is just, you are the only you on this whole universe. So be you, because people want to see you. The people that matter in your life want to see you for you. So do that. And lastly, be grateful. Stop focusing on what you don't have and be thankful for the things that you do. Right? You know, maybe you don't have that big house that you dreamed of when you were a kid, but you have a beautiful home over your head that's keeping you warm every night, right? You know, so be grateful for everything. For the fact that you woke up this morning. Some people didn't wake up this morning. You know, it's one of those things where you need to realize that you are so blessed in so many ways. And even on those bummer days, there are things to look for, and those are the days that you really, really want to dig deep and find the appreciation. Another thing for me for being, you know, grateful and gratitude is I find my most reflective moments are in the nighttime. So I'm a mom of 4. I have 2 under 2. And a 13-year-old with ADHD who is super hormonal right now and hates me and loves me in a matter of minutes. And I have a 9-year-old stepdaughter. So my life is hectic all the time. My 2-year-old is a screamer. He's either cry screaming or he's loud, happy screaming, but it's always a screaming volume in my house. And my daughter is 1 and she likes to mimic him. So she's like Shrieky. If anyone remembers Care Bears as a kid, she's like Shrieky. I call her my Shrieky from Care Bears. So at the end of my day, when they're finally asleep and I'm looking at their little faces, or I'm putting them to bed and I finally sit down and breathe, that is my most reflective time at how beautiful and grateful life is. And I wouldn't trade this hectic, loud household for anything in the world, because I feel so truly blessed to have my beautiful home, my beautiful family, all healthy together. So ultimately, you need to find what works for you. So for me, again, it was positive quotes off Google. That's what I did, right? I just started combating my mind. But when you recognize those negative patterns, you need to find what works for you to combat those. Experiment with some different ideas and find what works for you and stick with it. Basically, I just want to end off with one more thing. Reality doesn't shape our experiences. Mindset does. Your mindset and how you think about reality is what shapes your reality, right? Reality doesn't shape your experiences, your mindset does. So I need you all today to really think hard about the thoughts. When you have a negative thought today, recognize it. Stop, think about it, and turn it around and try to or reframe it to have a more positive thought. Mindset is literally everything. When you go into a task and say, I can't do that, you're right. Because whether you can or you can't, like how you think it, you're right. So you need to stop thinking that so that you can, because you do have it in you. It's a matter of changing your mind. So like I said, change your mind, change your life, change your business. Right. That's all I got though.
I love every single thing you touched on. It's amazing. Skye, before I get into what I wanted to talk about, I want to go ahead and bring on Skye. She is another one that truly believes in the importance of mindset. And I've watched this young lady over the past 6 months that I've gotten to know who she is because of the Vibe Tribe. And I've just watched her blossom into this amazing, strong woman. And I would like her to share her thoughts on mindset.
You're way too sweet, Shannon. Okay, so everything that I was going to say actually touched somewhere on everything that Kayla shared. That is so hard to follow on. But that's the beauty of all of this, because if there's something that I've learned doing all this self development, it's that successful people that truly are like okay with who they are, there's a very common theme, and some of those themes would be practicing gratitude and having a good mindset and doing the self-development. And that's why it's so much the same, because it works. Like, it actually is true in those things. I think it was Henry Ford that says, believe you can or believe that you can't, either is right. And that is so very true. Like, our internal dialogue is so, so important. And, we have to learn how to take those experiences in life, regardless of the negativity and the pain, and use them to, transform your life into living hope, basically. Because if there's one thing I've learned, you can't go wrong with positivity. There's so much negativity in the world already. And I'm a huge believer in balance. Like, the world needs positive, it needs negative. So, but be the positive. It truly is that simple. Like, it is a choice to just pay attention, be mindful, be insightful, pay attention to your thoughts on purpose, and look at those negative ones and change that internal dialogue, because you control what you say and do, and only what you say and do. And gaining control of your emotions is huge, like, to be successful, like, in everything that you do, not just in this business, but just in life. So, and it's completely possible to, mobilize your thoughts to change the way that your brain works, like, in the long run. So I truly believe that. I have said for a long time that what you say out loud, your brain, it goes into your subconscious, and your brain automatically assumes that it's true. And so when you find yourself thinking that negative thought of just the simplest thing of, I'm not worthy, literally telling yourself that out loud, like, I am worthy, like the power of the I am statements, it's huge, because it really does counteract that negative self-thought. And your brain, you just can't change that science behind it, that it automatically is going to believe that. So the more you tell yourself positive, the more you will believe it. All right, well, I feel like that's what I've got for this morning. If I think of anything else, maybe I'll pop back on.
It's awesome. I love that as well. Now, a lot of you know my story, and a lot of you know that I do see a therapist, which at first I was embarrassed to talk about, but not anymore, because I've learned so much from my therapist. He and I were discussing just yesterday how success is 100% connected to your mindset, whether it be in your business or your personal life or being a mom or a dad, whatever you do, it's always connected to mindset because your mindset develops healthy self-esteem. It formulates a winning perspective in your own mind. It harnesses your drive to do things every day. It helps you face adversity. It helps you achieve your goals. And the way he described it to me was really interesting because a lot of people are like, okay, so what does it mean to fill your cup? What does it mean to do this? What does it mean to do that? He explained it to me in a way of a vehicle. Mindset is where the rubber meets the road. If your mindset is thin, you're going to slide. You can have a tire pop. You can get into an accident. But when your mindset is strong, it helps you keep control of those spins. It helps you veer out of the way of those accidents. Another thing is we have to know what affects our positivity and our negativity. For me, it was news, social media. Yes, social media. We run our business from social media, but you have got to be careful what you're intaking. Set timers. Don't allow yourself to get too stuck in that scroll because when you do, you're going to see a lot of negativity, whether it be about politics or about opinions of injections. No matter what, it's like everywhere you turn is almost constant negativity. So you have got to be very careful on what you intake on a daily basis. So I've started setting timers with my social media, and I no longer watch the news at all. The news, the only thing that's not negative in 100% matter on the news is the weather. So I just stay away from the news altogether. And that's how we control half the battle, by watching what we look at. We're conditioned at an early age to fill our gas tank with more negative thoughts than positive thoughts, whether it be from teachers telling us we're not smart enough, or peers telling us we're not wearing the right things, or even our parents telling us, don't do that. It's like every which way we turn, we automatically think to ourselves, that's wrong. This doesn't look right. This isn't done right. So we have to be very careful on how we think. And that's what Kayla was talking about, flipping the script. When we start to think bad thoughts, flip it into a good thought. There is one thing, I do not know who wrote it, but I have something on my wall right by my dream board, and it's called The Power of Attitude. Our lives are not determined by what happens to us, but by how we react to what happens. Not by what life brings to us, but by the attitude we bring to life. A positive attitude causes a chain reaction of positive thoughts and outcomes. It is a catalyst, a spark that creates extraordinary results. When I set my timer and I start going through to interact with possible potentials, if I see something negative, before I used to try to skip that. But now I try to help them turn a negative into a positive, but I don't want those see-through positives either. And what I consider a see-through positive is, oh, I know what you're going through with loss, but you'll see in the future how much it actually is needed. That's not really, to me, a conscious comment. I want to let them know that I know what they're going through, that I'm there if they need to talk. And when they do, I listen. I'm in a group for self-love, abusive relationships, narcissistic relationships. I've become a mentor in this group. And right now I'm only working with one young lady in depth because I'm new to this and I don't want to take on more than I can handle. But it's helpful for her to have somebody who knows what she's going through. And that helps my mindset because I can help, even just by listening, one person not feel some of the things that I've felt. And it's an amazing feeling, and it has absolutely nothing to do with Thrive, but just being there for her. And yesterday she asked me the question, how are you so happy? And I was able to talk to her about all of you, about my community. I recently went on a retreat, and just sitting there, you know how sometimes we look at people in our upline or our sideline and we compare ourselves. Like, oh my goodness, I'm going to sit here with that millionaire earner. She's so much better than I am. She's like got it all together. And to find out that she's just like I am, and she's goofy and she's funny, and it's just an amazing thing that you learn that our uplines are just like us. Our sidelines are just like us. We need to stop comparing our chapter 3 to their chapter 103. They've been through every single thing that we are going through. They've had to learn how to change their mindset as well. It's just, it's so hard for me to explain, but there's a saying out there, you need to learn how to dance in the rain. And that saying is so true. I've never heard a saying more true than that. Most people run from the rain. But if you can learn how to dance in it, you know how beautiful that could be? And rain can be negativity. And learning how to dance in it is changing that negativity into a positive thing. I challenge each of you today to write down 10 things. It doesn't have to be I am, but just write down 10 things that are special about you, that matter about you, that you're good at. If you have trouble, ask a friend. I had to. What do you think I'm good at? And then people came back to me and gave me things that they thought I was good at, that I didn't even realize I was good at. When you start to feel down, when you start to feel, I can't do this, this isn't working for me, look at those things that you're good at. Look at those things that you know you can do. And just have thoughts of those things. And it can change that negativity into a positive thing. And it's just beautiful and amazing. And I love it. And yes, Kayla, I'm sorry, I was looking at the comments. Kayla wrote, being able to use your story or experiences to inspire another is such a beautiful thing. And it is. Being raw and real when you're on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, being yourself, having fun with it, but showing that you're just as screwed up as everybody else, but you've learned how to turn that around. People are going to want to know how. People are going to want to know, what did you do? There are so many people I look at on this Zoom that, and I'm going to call her out, she might not be happy, but Blaze, for one. When I first met Blaze, she was this quiet, stand in the corner female who just took everything in. And she's blossomed into this woman now that will talk to you about how you can change your life. She's not afraid to open her mouth about what changes happened for her. She's not afraid to introduce her wonderful husband, who took some time to get on the line with her, but he's there and he's just as amazing as she is. She's getting ready to do an event. And I'm so proud of her for that. And her and I got to get together later because I did promise to talk to her about that. Ellie Haynes is another one. Constantly, when we first started talking, telling me how she can't do this. Yet she wasn't realizing how much of an inspiration she was to me, because every time we were talking, she was out walking. Every single morning, she was out on that road walking, and I'm sitting on my fat arse. Monica Hodges, when I first started doing this Vibe Tribe Zoom, she never really chatted in the chat, never really said much, but now she's in the chat. Now she'll unmute and talk to people. When I ask her, what's going on in your life, she unmutes and she talks. Denise, Frank,
Shannon.
Paddington, Anna Chu. I've watched all of you blossom, and I know each one of you can do this. Erica Christie. Each one of you have become so much stronger as time has gone by. Let the world know your strength. Let the world know who you are. Don't hide behind a screen in a post. Kelly, did you want to say something, honey?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for being there for me, because I've been going through a rough month, and you've been there for me as not only as a sideline, but you've kept me motivated, and I've been really going through a lot. So thank you for being there for me and for my daughter, and giving me a swift kick in the butt when I desperately need it. You are such a sweetheart. That's all I got to say.
Well, thank you for that. But I'm only being truthful with each of you when I talk to you, because I see the beauty in each of you. I see the strength in each of you. I see the heart in each of you. I mean, Anastasia, I've been watching her all morning get ready, and she's absolutely gorgeous. But here I am, afraid to turn on my camera because I look a hot mess. And she's getting ready in front of the world. And I love it. And I thank each and every single one of you for being here every day that we do this. Tammy Coddington is my accountability partner. I'm sorry I'm getting emotional now, but she's my accountability partner. She has a full-time job. Plus, she works on a dairy farm. She lives on a dairy farm, so that's another full-time job. Plus, she does Thrive. She's got all of this on her plate, and we're in a group that we keep accountability of each other, and she's doing all the damn things. And she keeps me running. And that's what I got for this morning. Kayla, Skye, do either one of you have anything else before yes, we're hydrating our eyes. It's something we talked about at our retreat. When you're not crying, you're hydrating your eyes. I love that.
I have something.
Okay, go ahead, honey.
I have something really quick that I wanted to read. I actually stumbled upon this a couple of weeks ago, so I wanted to share this analogy with you guys because I think it's a really fitting analogy. I think Sonia may have shared it in one of her groups, so I'm just going to read it out really quick. But it's perfect for our mindset today. So basically, you are holding a cup of coffee when someone comes along and bumps into you or shakes your arm, making you spill your coffee everywhere. Why did you spill the coffee? Because someone bumped into me. Wrong answer. You spilled the coffee because there was coffee in your cup. Had there been tea in your cup, you would have spilled tea. Whatever is inside the cup is what will spill out. Therefore, when life comes along and shakes you, which will happen, whatever is inside you will come out. It's easy to fake it until you get rattled. So we have to ask ourselves, what's in my cup? When life gets tough, what spills over? Joy, gratefulness, peace, humility, or anger, bitterness, harsh words, and reactions? Life provides you the cup, but you choose how to fill it. So today, let's work towards filling our cups with gratitude, forgiveness, joy, words of affirmation, and kindness, gentleness, and love for others. So I really love that, and I wanted to share that today.
I love that too, and thank you for sharing that. Skye, do you have anything else before we move forward?
I do not. So, I mean, I did. I had this whole list of things, but then, Kayla had all these great, amazing things, and I felt like I was crossing things off. Like, nope, don't need to talk about that. Don't need to talk about that. So
She did do a great job. She did cover pretty much all of it. And
yes,
I
fire
just love
today.
I loved when I asked, okay, I'm going to put you both out there. When I asked Skye and Kayla to do this Zoom with me this morning, their energy and excitement about talking about mindset made me excited. At first, I was like, oh, what am I going to do? But they made me excited.
I felt so honored that you asked. So thank you.
Well, all right. So if you have never won a Good Morning Vibe Tribe, you can drop me in the chat. I don't know if there's anybody on here that hasn't won yet, which Lisa has gotten moved. Her daughter is starting to feel a little bit better. So we are going to be getting those things out to you. Normally, we've been reading from 100 Days of Peace, but today I want to read something different. I have this book. It's called Always Enough, Never Too Much. It is 100 devotions to quit comparing, stop hiding, and start living wild and free. But this one has been one I've been reading over and over again for the past 2 weeks. So I definitely wanted to read this and share it with y'all. We can get back to our normal reading next week. Even when you feel stuck. He brought me out into a spacious place. He rescued me because he delighted in me. Psalms 18:19. I'm a firm believer that we're never, ever stuck. I don't think God would go through all of the effort to rescue us, to leave us in a place where we've got no options. So whether you feel stuck in life, stuck in discouragement, or stuck in a relationship, I have a few suggestions of ways you can make a move in Jesus' name. You are safe to go low in Jesus. Acts 3:19 says that repentance brings refreshment. One of the smartest places we can move when we feel stuck is to our knees. We can repent, confess our sins, say what we've done wrong. We can bow down and immediately be in a different place than where we were moments before, no matter what you believe in. No matter what, go low. And because the power of the resurrection is alive in us, we can go high. We can raise our hands in worship. We can lift our glance to heaven. We can raise our voices in praise, no matter what you believe in. When you're feeling stuck and unsure of what's next, I suggest going higher. Spend a few minutes praising your life and what you have in it today. Tell the world what you're grateful for. And reaching up will unshackle you in the best ways, whether you praise to God or just praise to the sky. We can go backwards too. We can look back to past sessions to see how God has been faithful in our life or positivity has given us away. We can see what has been taught to us and where it has brought us. We're not the same people we were a year ago. We're not the same people we were 2 weeks ago. We are not even the same people we were 2 days ago. So when you're feeling stuck, go back and see how much has changed in your lives, no matter what you believe in. Finally, the power at work can move us forward. Whether it's an obedient step or a faith-fueled decision, we are the children of God. We can always move in the right direction. We're not stuck. We never have been. We just allow ourselves to believe we are. We can go where we're called. We can move forward, expecting and believing that we will end up right where we are supposed to be and ready for whatever is called upon next. My friend, if you're a believer of Christ or just a believer in positivity, realize you can do whatever that you want to do in your life. Simply believe and move forward. Go lower, go high, go backward, as long as you move forward. And remember, whether you believe or not, he's there and he's not done with you yet. I'm always enough and never too much. So are all of you. And I'm going to not do this morning because I hate picking. So Kayla, since you just took and shared all the tips, can you pick one of the me's from the chat, please?
Okay. Let's see. Vanessa's iPhone. I'm gonna assume that's not her real name.
Congratulations, Vanessa's iPhone. I need you to reach out to me in Messenger. Last name is Cochran, Cochran, and we will get you the graphic. Thank you all for being here today. Kayla and Skye, thank you for sharing with us today. And to the rest of you, thank you for always being a positive, beautiful spark in my life. Until next week.